Mic check, mic check. Welcome, welcome. This is another episode of Convo with CINO. And today, guys, special guest, good friend of mine, entrepreneur. I mean, just really a lot of respect for. Okay, cool. A gentleman I have a tremendous amount of respect for. And I think those who know him has seen his, his hard work, his perseverance, his dedication, his motivation. Just an entrepreneur. And as you guys see, I had to get suited like him. When in Rome, you got to do as the Romans do. And I heard it said that you have to dress how you want to be addressed. So again, I didn't, it was just automatic for me to put on a suit coat, today to talk to this gentleman because I have that much respect for him. He's been, again, a staple in the city of Gary. Just a businessman that you could always model yourself after. I know I've always modeled myself after him, and I can really go on and on. I could have really did this interview without him. I could have just because I feel like I seen his growth and watched him. He didn't even really need to be here for me to really say good things about him and about his past and about his pathway and his journey to success. And so when I think about the gentleman, I think about vision. I think about, just his tenacity, his work ethic. I've seen him do a lot of things. So again, you are now tuning into the greatest show on the planet, Convo with CINO, featuring episode 7, featuring my good friend, businessman, entrepreneur, Mr. Darrell Biddings, owner of Ultra Lounge, the LOFT Ultra Lounge in Gary, Indiana, an entrepreneur, real estate investor, all that, club promoter, all of that type of stuff. So, Mr. Darrell Biddings, welcome to the show, my brother.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. It's absolutely a pleasure, man. And I almost didn't know who you were talking about, man. All those wonderful accolades, but I appreciate it, man, and I humbly accept them. And thank you, brother, and blessings to you guys and all of your listeners too.
Man, thank you, man. And when I started this show with the premise of bringing light, sharing light, and giving people their flowers that probably wouldn't have an opportunity to, because a lot of times it seems like if you get on and talk about yourself, it's bragging, but when somebody else talk about you, it's compliment. You know what I'm saying? It's accolades. And so I just wanted to get on and, man, let the people know a little bit about the man, the myth, the legend, who runs that beautiful Ultra Lounge, the first Ultra Lounge really in the city of Gary. I mean, rivaled some of the clubs really in downtown Chicago. I mean, so you really set the bar high when it comes to Ultra Lounges. And so what I want to do right now is, man, get into a little bit of background on really who Darrell Biddings is. So you see, I got my little note card. So let's start off with where you from, where you from, and where you went to school at. Let's show GI some love on this episode. So
absolutely,
where you from, man? Where you from?
Well, I was actually born and raised, man, on the east side of Gary, the downtown area, not too far away from the club on 8th and Vermont. Okay, we grew up in a pretty diverse neighborhood. We had Hispanics, blacks, and whites in our area. So it was pretty diverse. As a kid, I went to Spalding Elementary until I moved to Glen Park. I moved to Glen Park, and I believe the later part of the 2nd grade. And that's when I started, expanding my friendships and things like that to people that were back then. Glen Park was almost like a suburb to us, coming down from the downtown area. So I moved to Glen Park when I was about, I guess, in the 2nd grade, you're 9 or 10 or something like that. So I ran into a lot of good, warm people when I moved out that way, and I still maintain some of those relationships till this day. I went to Riley Elementary once I moved to Glen Park. We went to Cooney Elementary for 1 year in the 6th grade. Then we went to Bailey Junior High. I believe Bailey was considered a junior high school, or Bailey Middle School. And then I went off to Lew Wallace High School for my high school years.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know no other high school in Gary other than the
Oh
Gulf.
man, stop it, man.
Yes,
Come on,
sir.
now where my
Yes, sir.
horseman
Yes,
people
sir.
at, man? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
horseman in the house too, man. But much love, shout
Okay.
out L Dub, man, Lew Wallace.
Okay. So somebody told me about that school, but I actually went to the Gary Career Center as well, my
Okay.
junior and senior year. I became a licensed welder. I got my certifications and everything at the Gary Career Center.
Okay.
I worked at my very first job that I actually worked at that I was pretty proud of was I turned 16 years old and I worked at the Holiday Star Theater. Okay,
Okay.
and that's when my passion for entertainment, I believe it started to show then because we saw groups like the Temptations, Gladys Knight, and a host of country and western shows. So that right there was something that actually helped ignite that fire in me as far as entertainment, and as well I saw that there was a family that owned the Holiday Star, the Radisson Theater.
Okay.
White Coat, Bruce and
White coat.
Deanie White. And this is the same family that actually opened up the Barbara White and Dean and Barbara White Community Center.
Right.
This is the same family. And if you notice a lot of the billboards and things, you would see White Coat at the bottom. So that particular family, man, it actually they had an inspiration on what I wanted to do with building legacies with my own family.
Wow. Man, I'm gonna tell you, you just really knocked out about 3 of my questions already. Because I was wondering, first of all, your skill set, because I can remember you. I remember going to one of your businesses, one of your commercial properties, and I remember seeing. This is the first time I ever seen somebody create a floor. Like, I mean, it was like the basement, and the man was putting in floor slats to build the floor, not like laying tile, laying, carpet. No, the man was putting in a floor.
Floor joists.
I
You
was
talking
like,
about
you say
the
what
floor
now?
joist is actually what it's called. It's called the floor joist, and what it
Yeah.
is what you would build first, and then you would actually start to build your second floor on top of that. So it's actually everything that is the structural support for you to stand on a floor. So, and it's a funny story with that, man. I learned because initially I didn't have the type of budget that it would have taken to really start my businesses like I wanted to. So the type of estimates that I got with those numbers, man, it was almost enough to discourage a person, when I was doing the club. And, when they, at a young man's age, because I bought that particular property in 2002. So I still considered myself being a younger man. And when they start talking about millions of dollars for construction costs and things like that, it's enough to discourage them. But I was resilient, man, and I learned the trades. I learned how to build, and that's what I did. I actually took on contracting jobs, remodeling basements, kitchens for people, putting in new bathrooms, and that's how I actually built the funds to actually open my own properties. No bank loans or anything like that. So the blessing is, it's mortgage free. My properties that I own, and I've been doing this for 30 years. 30 years.
Wow. And now let me take it back to the home, the motherland of where we actually met, where I actually met you. And some people are going to remember this, but it was a place called the Mecca Building.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us,
That go
man,
way
and
back,
you
bro.
and you had a salon. You had a where you had people doing hair. I think you were doing nail
Yeah.
manicures, pedicures. I mean, you was even
Yeah.
down there doing
Yeah.
feet and toes and manicures yourself,
Yeah.
man. So tell us about
Yeah.
the Mecca
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Give us a little history on the Mecca building and where you got you. I think you had the restaurant. Your mom had the
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah.
It was like a
Yeah.
family thing, man. And man,
Yeah.
speaking of your
Yeah.
mom, man, tell moms I said hello, man.
I sure will, and thanks, bro. I really I appreciate that. Well, that story was I was actually raised Muslim. Okay, so my thing was, you know, at that particular age, I wanted to be involved more with sports and different things like that. But you know, we had to grind, man. You know what I mean? We stayed in a smaller home, very, very modest. Um, so the things that I like to do, I like to play sports. I like to break dance. I like to do gymnastics. You know, I was always pushing, pushing myself. I would flip off houses, man, and run up trees and do flips and things like that. But I was actually taught at a young age, man, to do for self. So things that I did, I didn't get brand new bikes and things like that. My bikes came from rummage sales and secondhand shops. And, I didn't like the color. I didn't like the seats. I take the bike frame, sand it down, spray paint it, save up me a little money, going buy a new set of pedals, going buy my new handlebars, going buy my new seat, buy my new brakes. And I've turned this into my, this is my bike now. I know this is my bike because I built it. So that's where my passion, I think, came from, the mechanical side of building and things like that. One year my mom bought me a green machine. I don't know if a lot of people know what the green machine is, but it was like a big wheel that had two big wheels in the back and one big wheel in the front. Well, I was so adamant on building a go-kart, I took a brand new green machine, tore it apart, and got my wood and everything, started building my frame, and took that whole brand new big wheel and made it into a go-kart, which was mine. It wasn't store-bought or anything like that. So I just think at a young age, I found a passion, which I didn't know it was a passion. I just said, okay, this is the cool thing to do. Let me tear this new big wheel up, this new and build my own. So that's where I believe the building came in at. But started out, man, cutting grass in the summer, raking leaves in the fall, shoveling snow in the winter, and that was my business at 9, 10, and 11 and 12 years old. So
So you
and
always been a
that's how
hustler.
I
Always been an entrepreneur.
always I delivered my mom's Avon books, and I went and delivered the orders when the orders came in. I sold peanuts on Saturdays after Saturdays instead of going to sports and things like that. So it was just pushed in me, man, to really really grind hard. And sometimes it's almost like the Jackson Five. I don't want to call it a syndrome, but being pushed like that at a young age, it can be very beneficial to you in your life, or sometimes, man, it can be detrimental. And
Yeah.
for me, it was a benefit. At a young age, being pushed, to do things on my own.
Now, DB, this is my a very vivid memory of you. I've always thrown parties and shows and events, and you've always supported me. That's why I knew when I put this together, you were one of the people in mind because. Even when I was throwing my comedy shows and I would have a vision and you always sponsor my shows. I don't know if you remember this, but I used to go come and collect money from you, from your show, from my shows, comedy shows and fashion shows, whatever I would do. So you always were supportive. But one thing that stands out, you started um, promoting your nightclub when it was just a thought. This is why I think about vision for you. You hadn't purchased the building because remember, I was even helping you. I was doing real estate at the time.
Yeah,
I was showing
I
you,
remember,
I was
bro.
showing you the buildings, right? The building you
I
bought.
remember,
I think
bro.
I showed it to you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I remember, bro.
But it was amazing how you were able to take your vision. No, I mean you had the name of it. I can show you the flyer right now. Probably 2 years or so before you even actually opened that club. So tell us the journey from the link bar to loft to the vision of the link bar to creating the link bar to now loft ADIQ ultra lounge because
Yeah.
it was always an ultra. Tell us the journey from the vision to the manifestation of that.
Well, actually, the new name of the it's called Loft Attic. It's
Oh,
actually pronounced attic. Yep. Some people
okay.
say deep, some people say attic, but the
That's the
correct
that's the GI
pronunciation is
that's the
attic.
GI ver that's the
Yeah.
GI talk. That's
Yes,
the
sir.
GI slang.
Yes,
Addict.
sir.
Okay,
And I
got it.
accept that, brother. I wholeheartedly accept that. But um, I started, my mom, she would do talent shows and different things like that when I was a kid. And, like I said, I used to enjoy doing gymnastics and, martial arts. I did take martial arts when I was a kid. So I used to enjoy combining gymnastics because my uncle was a gymnast, but he never would teach me gymnastics because I don't think he thought I was serious, you know. But watching him, he would stand in place, and this guy would just jump up, man, and do a full twist flip, you know. And I was just amazed at the athleticism of that. And so I just started teaching myself, tumbling, walking on my hands, and my mom, she knew that I liked to dance and martial arts and gymnastics. So, she would put on shows at the Boys and Girls Clubs and things like that. And I would come out, man, and do my kata, you know what I mean, do a routine, run out, do a couple of flips, man, then finish off with a flip or something and bow, and people would just go crazy, And then when I went to Spalding Element, well, I left Spalding and I went to Riley Elementary in the second grade. I heard that they had a talent show. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to get in there and show these folks what I can do, and went in there, man, and what was funny about that, I got a record, and back in the day, it was a record called Kung Fu Fighting, and it was like everybody was kung fu fighting, and it had a nice groove to it. So my sensei, which was my karate instructor, he let me use that record. And the record cover, man, was beat up real bad, and I'm standing in line, man. I got everything ready to go. I'm fired up, messed around and the record dropped and it broke, man. And it broke me because I said my sensei, he trusted me with this. So I went
Yeah.
and spoke to someone, I think my teacher or someone, talked to DJ and asked them, did they have an up-tempo record? And they put on, I believe it was the Gap Band, Whip It, right? And man, when that song came on, I just forgot about the record that I dropped and broke. And I went out there, man. I cut a couple of flips, man. I bowed real quick, and then I went in. I went into action. Finished up, cut another flip, man. Bowed, got up off that stage. Them people jumped up, man, and I won first place. And just that right there in itself was enough to push me to say, you know what, man, if you put your hard effort and works into something, man, you're gonna really, really see the benefit of it. So I
Yeah.
follow that all throughout my life, man. I take that with me all throughout my life. So going over to Chicago is where I also got my influence on the nightlife. One of my favorite places
And,
was
and let me
Shipwreck.
let me say this real quick, man. When you talk about fashion, you know what I'm saying? This guy, right? Y'all be thinking I don't have nothing on DB's Mr. Darrell Bidding and his wife's fashion.
You funny, man.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you sharp, brother. You be very sharp. We sharpen each other, I believe. We
Come on,
sharpen each other,
man.
man.
But yeah,
and
talk
so,
about that. Talk about that Chi-Town life, man. Going over there and partying and visualizing.
yeah, I ended up, at a young age, I ended up getting a fake ID. I don't want to encourage that to anyone, but I ended up getting it. So at a younger age, at 19, 18, 19, 20 years old, I'm getting into these places, and the life's the way that nightlife was, man, it was different. I would go in Chick Rick's. You would go in there, man, you would see a live band playing. Then next thing you know, you see a line wrapped around a corner getting ready to go into another room. And, I go and check that out. They got a comedy show happening in there. Then after the comedy show is over with, you can go upstairs. They got some house music playing. You go
Yeah,
upstairs to another room. They got some reggae playing. You go back here further down the back. They got some hip hop playing, and I was just amazed at that. I got turned on to bottle service at a young age. So we was popping bottles at a very, very young age, and I enjoyed the mystique of it. And I said to myself, when I am in position, I would love to offer my community something like this. So that's where I got a lot of my influence from. And then, of course, it used to be called The Click, and then it
yeah,
turned to E2, but I got a lot of my influences from those places, and I mean, man, we used to hit Chicago, man, 3, 4, 5 days a week, some on Monday, the Cotton Club, we would hit the Spy Bars, we would hit the Comfort Zones, and that's really where my influence as I got older, coming into my young adult ages, where I was actually able to really get out to these places and enjoy these places. And I just always wanted to bring that experience to my own city.
man. Well, you done that, man. And let me ask you this. Now you've been in business, for some years, now, and you've, kind of been able to sustain through, the competition, whether it's, other clubs or just pandemics. I mean, you've been able to really, challenges. I remember the city was even trying to shut you down or something, a couple of times with
Yeah.
different things. So, what were some of your challenges? What was maybe one of the biggest challenges that you faced that almost made you want to throw in the towel?
Well, you know what, man, I've never been to the point that I wanted to throw in the towel. Because of my history, when I was a young man coming up, I got into trouble and different things like that. I've done time twice. But a lot of times your past, it actually carries into, your adulthood, especially if it was a past when you were young, and it carries over into your adulthood. So you have to work extra hard to actually rid yourself of that stigma, of being the bad guy. So when I did end up doing time, I really made a vow to myself and to the creator that, I wanted to get out and really add to the community, be a benefit to the community, be a blessing to the community. And I just changed my life completely.
Mhm.
Um, got out and, really got heavily involved with youth sports. I coached youth sports for like 14 years. I coached a Maryville Summer League for a couple of years with I was an assistant coach with a young lady I went to school with that actually played in the WNBA. Um, I actually coached a winter league in Maryville for probably 5 or 6 years. Then I went to Gary and I coached Biddy in Gary for a few years. I coached Little League. I was assistant coach for Little League in Gary West. I was assistant coach for Pop Warner football, man, for 7 years. I love being involved with the youth, man, and having
That's
an
great.
opportunity to share my story and show them ways that they can actually accomplish their goals and their dreams. So that was just a passion that I did have.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
my giving back to the community that I actually might have done some damage to in the past.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, that's
So, so what's in store, man? So I know, Loft Addict, Loft Addict, 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 Addict. Okay,
good
Loft.
brother. Well, that's
I'm
what
just
the
gonna
joke
call it
was
the
there.
Loft.
Yeah, that's what everybody calls it, the loft. But that's how the name Adik came, because I was saying when my brothers come over here from Africa, they're gonna stop here and they're gonna say we're going to loft Adik tonight. And it just sounded how an African would say it, and people ran
Well,
with it,
they
but
think I'm African. Hey, man, I know I'm from a tribe somewhere.
absolutely.
I get stopped by
Absolutely.
Africans all the time, man. They be like, "Hey, brother, how you doing, brother?"
Yeah,
I be like, "Hey, brother." Yeah.
that's right. I
So
love it, bro.
so
Love it.
so drop me a list of, let's do a little name dropping, man. Who's all what type of celebrities that you've had, dude? I know Selena Johnson was just there. What are some of the celebrities and concerts
Um,
you had, man? Some of the big.
Yeah, well, we had a young lady by the name of Pia Renee. She was on The Voice. She's a heck of a vocalist, and her PR team reached out to me, and they said that they were looking to do a show. So she recently had done a show, maybe several weeks before Selena. But we've had Trina there, we've had Joe Budden, we've had Scarface, we've had Juvenile on a few different occasions. We've had a host of Chicago artists that have come through. Your Twisters, your Herbos, your Dirks. We were actually like the first Indiana venue that were bringing Katie Got Bands, G Herbos, Lil Durks, King Louis. We were that first venue that actually started bringing them here, along with myself, along with some of the other promoters that I had been doing business with. We brought Keisha Kaor in. It's a list of them, man. It's
Yeah.
a list of
It
them
was
that
this
we
guy.
brought.
It was this guy I used to work with back in the day, Ziggy Boy the Man.
Right,
Ziggy
right,
Boy,
right.
Ziggy Boy been through there too, man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right, Zeke. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
We Judge Mathis came through on a. We used to do what we called third generation, and it was open mic. That was the name of our group. It was called Third Generation. A buddy of mine, Kelly Chukuba Renfrey. We actually started doing live music and open mic at a place called Satch's. It used to be called Satch's.
Yeah.
Okay. Before it was Satch's, it was called the Chez Cretin restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay. A group of doctors had owned it. So I went in and we started doing live music and open mics, and then we started doing comedy. I started doing comedy once a month, and D Ray was my host. D Ray Davis from
Heard of those?
Chicago. Yeah, D Ray was my host, man, and these guys, they really opened my eyes on how to really give great hospitality, because we would have a whole room, man, a VIP room with a nice table spread of food. We would have champagne, and these guys would say, man, we don't get treated like
Yeah.
that around here. They say we you treating us, you just rolling out the red carpet for us. And I said, well, this is how I would want to be treated if I was going somewhere. I said, you guys are guests here. So long story short, we started doing shows there, and we were dealing with management issues with the cleanliness and things of the property. And my team would have to get in there and do the cleaning and everything. And I said, you know what? I need to have my own place.
Yeah.
I'm putting this type of effort into it. And then one day, we had a deal where we had a big show coming, and then they changed the rates on us. And I said, you know what, never again. I wouldn't put myself in a position like that, for someone to have that type of economic control over, the things that I was doing. And I
Yeah.
just vowed, man, to, open my own place. And I said I wasn't going to do anything until I opened up my own place. And, it took some time, because it was done just, out of my pocket and just sweat labor, but that's the blessing in it right there, is clear and free. And then they're building up around us. So the value has
Come on.
tremendously increased.
That's awesome.
Tremendously. You
I
know?
love it, bro. I love
Yeah.
it. I love you. I love what you're doing, man. And so look, we're gonna promote some of your events coming up, man. So let's drop a few of these flyers. Let's see what we got coming up. Okay. So let's talk about this.
Well, this is our Steppers and Walkers mixer, man. If anybody loves smooth R&B music, just being in the atmosphere where you have grown, mature people, man, just having a great time. We start this in April 15th, and it's going to be every third Thursday, and we open up the doors at 7, from 7 to 2 a.m. You can contact the number on the flyer for advance tickets. But that's something that I'm super excited with. I'm actually part of a Steppers organization myself called Debonair Steppers, and I've actually been in the stepping community for about one good year, but I've been getting solid instructions on the dance for about a good 6 months. I have a good instructor that actually invited me into their steppers group. So that was an honor right there. So that's what we do every third. Now this is our cracking up open mic comedy showcase, and we do this every second and fourth Thursday. Doors open up at 7, and we have some really funny local comedians and some comedians that travel from our neighboring cities. They came over here 2 Thursdays ago. Well, actually last Thursday, and they had us cracking up for real. And that's what we do every. This right here is what we do every first and third Thursday, and this is our Thursday night vibe. And it's an open mic with a live band, so we allow for vocalists to come in and get on the mic, and we even allow for any other musicians to come in and do what we call a jam session with our band. And that's something that we do every first and third Thursday.
Awesome. All right, now. So this is a new segment I just and that's awesome, man. I'm gonna be definitely plugging into those events. But this is in honor of hip hop's, man, 50th year anniversary. I created what we call the rap game. So the rap game is just, when I think about rappers, I think, I listen to the type of rap that's gonna motivate me, inspire me, and some of those, from your Nas, your Rick Rosses, and your Jay-Z's, T.I., all the people that are successful, that have built businesses outside of just not just being an artist, but also, drop some verses and some nuggets and some knowledge in their raps, in their your songs, in their verses, what have you. So call it the rap game. So let's play the rap game, bro. Who's one of your favorite rappers? What's a song or verse that really inspired you to do what you're doing?
Well, when I look at different artists, I look at different things. If you say a performer, you would guys like Jay-Z and Nas, they're lyricists. So their performances aren't electrifying performances, but when you listen to the things that they say, their delivery, those are two of my favorite. Of course, with guys like Scarface, Biggie's, but just to go into what inspires me, other than just their rap lyrics, is coming from the same type of environment that I came from, making a life's change. Those are the things that actually touch me most about certain artists. But there's one thing in particular that sticks with me that Jay-Z had said. And I've always felt this, but it's confirming when you hear someone else say it. And I always would say, well, why don't these folks think that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do? Why come I don't get this encouragement from over here? Maybe I can get this encouragement from someone else that I know, but even people that are family members and people that say they love you don't believe in your dreams. And I always would say, you know what? People don't believe in your dreams because they don't believe that they have the capability in themselves to accomplish something like that. And I heard Jay-Z say that. And he was talking about his uncle when he was telling his uncle that he was going to sell 1,000,000 records. And his uncle told him, man, what makes you think you're going to sell 1,000,000 records? You from such and such, such and such. And Jay-Z said, you know, I sold 1,000,000 records 1,000,000 times, you know, and just him breaking it down, he said his uncle had a fear where his uncle didn't believe that he had it inside himself to accomplish a feat like that. And I run into that with people that say they love you. You know, you look at the things that they've attempted to accomplish, and maybe their resources wasn't in line. Maybe they weren't at that particular point in their life where things were lining up where they thought they should have, the way that they thought they should have. But I've heard from a lot of people that have told me what makes me think that I'm actually going to accomplish the things that I'm saying that I'm accomplished. You know, well, you just a dreamer, you know. And I look right now when I'm in the Maldives Islands, twiddling my toes, saying, I remember when they said that I wasn't going to be able to do it. Now I can fly my whole family out of the country and stay a couple of weeks. We go to Greece and Paris, you know. And
Come on, man.
the same
Come
people
on.
that didn't believe in me, you know, I'm wondering like, man, maybe I should have believed in them. Maybe I should have invested with them. So now it goes from, you know, a young guy selling peanuts after school and on Saturdays, you know what I mean, to, you know, I'm a commercial real estate investor. And you know, God has been really tremendously great to us. You know, and I'm most definitely a grinder. And, you know, I strap my boots up and I get in, man, you know, and I go get it. You know, I don't, you know, when I say that I want something, I go get it, you know, and that's what it is. And I try to teach my children that, and they go get it. They go get it. They don't realize it themselves, but the things that I've actually instilled in them and the way that I put things in place for them, I always take it back to a conversation with one of my youngest sons. He's 20. He's a welder, just like I am, and he's in the construction trades, just like I am. We're working at getting his first property for him now. You know, he said he's saving, and all while my children were coming up, and they would tell me that they would have goals and things like that. And, you know, I always say, okay, well, do you know what it's going to cost to make that happen? You know, do you know how much more studying you're going to have to do if you want to go from a B plus to an A plus? You know, you have to make those sacrifices, and you have to get on in there, and you have to go at it, man. I run at things head on. You know, I go get it, man. You know, and teaching, living by that, I can almost say everything that I've told buddies of mine back in the day. You know how we sit on the porch and you see the Lamborghinis running past, and you know you want to be the first one to say that's my car. That's the game that we play.
That's my car, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I told my buddies when I was little, I said, man, I'm gonna have it for real when I get older. And they see it now. They see the doors opening up the opposite way. You know what I mean? They see it now. You know what I mean? So like I say, man, it's a blessing. I really visualize myself in everything that I want to do. I visualize myself. I used to visualize myself walking through my club doors, greeting people, shaking people's hands. You know, and this was years before it opened. You know, and anything that I do, bro, I visualize myself in it. And I talk to my wife about those type of things too. And it's hard for me to take no for an answer. To me, it's always an alternative. Well, if we can't do it that way, it's got to be a way we can get it done. You know, you're not telling me right now, but I know it's got to be a way. Let me do a little bit more research, and I'll come back to you. Come back to them. Hey, when they have sales online, you know, their sale price, that's not my price. I want to buy this, this, and this. Okay, I'm going to call a representative. Listen, I understand you all have some discounts going on, but this is what I want to do. Are there any other discounts that's available to me? Well, Mr. Biddings, yeah, let me check. Next thing you know, I get another 10 or 15% off. You know, yeah, man, that's just how it is. I take life like that, bro.
And I tell people, look, I don't brag on how much I spent on something. I brag on how much I saved. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Well, my brother, man, look, it's been a pleasure, man. You dropped some real, true gems. Drop some game, drop some. I mean, again, when I think about Darrell Biddings, I think about visualization and manifestation. Those are the two things I think about when I think about you, man. And so, man, let's we'll wrap it up. I'm gonna do some shout outs real quick. So first I want to shout out to let's go to credit repair. Okay, so look, if you need any credit repair, I partnered up with 24/8 Solutions. So you can text me, 219, text credit to 219-201-8010. Text credit to 219-201-8010. $249 one time gets you a nice clean credit so you can start doing some other things in your life. So that's number one. Number two, of course, Legal Shield. My business been doing this a long time. So if you ever need any legal service, faced with ever need to talk to an attorney about anything from trivial to the traumatic, it doesn't matter. $29.95 a month. You can call me. Text legal to 219-201-8010. Text legal to 219-201-8010 for Legal Shield. And of course, we got the shirts, guys. Convo with CINO. Order your shirts right now at www.convowithcino.com. So, just hit me up, inbox me. You can cash at me, whatever, But again, we have the shirts available. That's a nice. I would have worn my shirt today, but I had to get suited up for DB, And of course, my webinar series, my online transformation series is going to be coming soon. Personal transformation mastery, where you can actually, really learn how to master your mind. We're going to be basing this on these principles like Mr. Biddens talked about, visualization, and equaling manifestation and really having that positive mental attitude. We're going to show you some life hacks on how to really just stay positive, how to attract positive things to you. So stay tuned for that, Transformation Mastery Online. And I want to thank my sponsors for all my nice paraphernalia, my good stuff, my t-shirts, my banners, my everything you see here. Midwest Custom Print, official sponsor of Convo with CINO. So for all your printing needs, marketing material, whatever you need, guys, hit them up at, MidwestCustomPrint.com. And and last but not least, I want to give a few shout outs to some people that have been supporting the show, who dropped some, some tune in the Convo with CINO. So shout out to Dwight Looney, my girl Coach V, Sharice Dobb, Shanika Biddings. I think that's your cousin, Shanika Biddings, Crystal Brooks, Shanine Mosley, Lakeisha Tate, T Players, Talisa Cockrell, and of course, my team, my staff. Shout out to Coach V. You can catch her in the mornings, 5 a.m. prayer. Of course, Abundant Living Faith-based counseling and coaching. Of course, my producer who's running this behind the scenes, Mr. Rashad Ezel. Shout out to him. Chris Coleman, my graphic guy, and Darrell Big Deezy for helping us out on that as well. So again, guys, so I'm gonna turn it over to DB. Any shout outs for you, D?
Well, man, I most definitely want to give honor and praises, man, to my creator, of course. Um, and then, my wife and my children that, have always supported me. And then for those loved ones, my family members, man, that have always supported me and inspired me. I lost my grandfather a few years back, and he was one of my biggest supporters, man, and he just anything good that I wanted to do, he wanted to know how could he help me accomplish it, so he was a good man. He was the he's what strength was, man that came in, bought him an apartment building, and all my relatives lived in the different apartments, and we didn't realize it back then, but he was a real estate, he had real estate way back then, you know 4, 5 unit building that he raised a lot of even a lot of people that just lived in the neighborhood. So big shout out to grandpa, my grandpa, you know,
Man,
good dude.
rest in peace. Yeah, well, you get it honest. You know, I just seen I remember seeing your whole family working in the Mecca building, from your mom, your brother, your dad, you.
That was my very first business, man. The restaurant was my very first business, and my mom, because she had a restaurant before, my mom and my stepdad, that's who owned the Mecca building. And they just let me get in there, man, and just open up. And opened up a restaurant. Then I opened up the beauty salon, then a beauty supply. I started selling phones, Nextel phones.
Yeah.
We were selling hair, um, products. I went to school for nails. I wanted to learn more about just giving service instead of just being a rent collector. So I went to school and I learned how to give good service, and that's something that I'm proud of.
Man, well, everything you do, man, is always top notch, first class. I mean, again, man, you one of the people, one of the men in my life that has really had a big influence on me. Whether we talk, whether we see each other in passing, but when I see you, it's all love, and you're always right here, man, and close to my heart, brother, because I'm just a combination of different mentors and people that have poured into me, and you are definitely somebody that I look up to, I
Thank you, brother.
respect, I love, and much success, man. So appreciate you, brother. Oh, I got to get two more shout outs to my podcast family. Shout out to my girl Big Lex, doing it by faith, and of course Coach V, conversations with Coach V, and my man Malcolm Cheeks. Cheeks said hit him up too, man. Malcolm Cheeks of 219 TV. These are my other podcast family members, man. So we all gonna be collaborating and really working together, man. So man, appreciate you, brother. That's a wrap, man.
Brother.
Say that one more time.
I said blessings to you, man, and you have a good one, and it was a joy.
Hey man, any final words? Any words of wisdom you want to leave real quick? One
you
last.
know, don't let anything or anyone deter you from your goals. If you certain things that we have in us, sometimes we need a catalyst to actually, ignite it. So stay around good, positive people. Because miserable people, man, they will pull you down. They'll sit on your wings, man, and it's hard for you to fly when people are sitting on your wings, bro. It's hard, I tell you.
Man, mic drop. Mic drop. All right, brother. Well, I'm definitely gonna watch this replay, take my notes, man, and soak it up, man. It's always a pleasure seeing you, man, talking to you. Much success, much love. This has been another episode of Convo with CINO with your man Corey Williams, host, coach, friend, brother, father, all that good stuff, man. This your man Corey Williams, Convo with CINO. We out.